the end, whenever he was talking about how he hopes the survivors get justice, I literally felt my blood boil, because you are not my ally. You are not somebody who has been here for survivors. You have crippled the investigation by saying the things that you have said. You have taken all credit, or some credibility, not all credibility, because there's obviously people like us who are here to help. But him ever going back on his word took the credibility of like my story, Damie's story, Mal's story, everybody's story with him was dampered the minute that Jeffree Star decided to go back on tour with him. I don't care what manager said whatever to him. What manager said it wasn't true.
So, the clip that you just watched there, the thing that Ashley is talking about there, Ashley is the girl in the video and a survivor of Davi Vanity. The thing that she's talking about there is, in my opinion, the most important part about Davi Vanity and Jeffree Star situation. Because you see, this Davi Vanity and Jeffree Star situation isn't just cold tea. It isn't just drama. It is about Jeffree Star ruining an investigation into a predator and potentially putting his fans at risk of being, you know what. And that isn't just cold tea. It isn't just drama. It's much more than that. So recently, and by recently I mean 2 or 3 days ago, I don't know, I don't understand the concept of time anymore. Chris Hansen interviewed Jeffree Star on his YouTube channel regarding Davi Vanity. And that interview was an absolute clusterfuck. It was very fucking awful, to say the least. And part of the reason why is because of Jeffree Star himself. He didn't want to answer questions. He just deflected throughout the entire interview. And if you cannot see that from watching the interview itself, then I'm sorry. I can't help you with that. But also, a big part of the reason why that interview was absolutely awful was actually because of Chris Hansen. And I want to get into that. I want to rip him apart in this video. So there were a lot of things, a lot of very important things that Chris Hansen just didn't bring up with Jeffree Star. This whole Jeffree Star and Davi Vanity situation almost exclusively revolves around 4 tweets. These tweets. Jeffree Star saying that he saw Davi Vanity bring underage girls to his hotel room, 100% illegal. The fact that he tweeted out that he saw that happen was never brought up. Oh, would you look at that? The main fucking thing about the Jeffree Star and Davi Vanity situation was never brought up by Chris Hansen. Isn't that interesting? Interesting how that works. What the fuck? Seriously though, like this whole Davi Vanity and Jeffree Star situation revolves around these tweets. And to not bring up these tweets? Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you seriously, like, Chris Hansen didn't brought up that Jeffree said he saw Davi bring underage girls to his hotel room. Never. It was never brought up. What the fuck is wrong with Chris Hansen? In the interview itself, Jeffree Star often said that saw Davi Vanity be inappropriate with underage fans.
Yeah, I've witnessed him be very appropriate with people that were underage. Have I witnessed an actual crime? No. Chris, absolutely not.
What did he meant by that? What did he actually meant by that? Did Chris Hansen bring that up? Nope, he didn't. Interesting, isn't it? And by the way, Jeffree Star brought up the fact that he didn't saw anything illegal, but he did saw inappropriate things so many fucking times. So many times. And he never clarified what he meant by inappropriate things. And the person who's supposed to be fucking interviewing Jeffree Star about this didn't press on that. Isn't that interesting? Very interesting, isn't it? Jeffree Star is now saying, and it's confirmed in the interview itself, that, hey, I didn't saw anything illegal happen. And Damien, a survivor of Darby Vanity, Jesse Slaughter, said that Jeffree saw Damien and Darby Vanity kiss.
Another thing we talked about actually had to do with Jeffree Star, where you talked about how both he and Jay knew the relationship between you and Darby and actually witnessed him kissing you.
Yeah, they witnessed many girls kissing him. I wasn't the only one. Darby was very affectionate with a lot of his fans, and he was fucking a lot of them. And it was normal in the scene to be kind of like lovey and touchy and stuff, but like Darby took it quite a bit far with quite a few very young fans, and Jeffree Star and Jay witnessed it. I can tell you that Jeffree Star called out Darby Vanity because of me in August of 2010, literally a month after the whole You Done Goof thing happened, and then made up with him. Only after, I don't know, maybe some financial shit. Like, it seems like Jeffree Star only has a financial incentive for anything he does. Like, it seemed like he was trying to defend me at one point, but then, like, because the favor wasn't in my direction, he, like, backed the fuck off because, like, there wasn't any money in it. And then he just goes to basically be like, oh, my brother Davi, when, like, he saw me. Like, you said you saw me.
And Damien was 10 years old at the time. Okay, there's no fucking way that anyone can tell me, oh, perhaps Damien looked older than she is. No, they were a 10-year-old at the time. They hadn't had their period yet. There is no way that someone can think that Damien was of consenting age. No way. So, given the fact that Jeffree Star is now saying that he didn't saw anything illegal happen, and Damien is saying that Jeffree Star saw Darby and Jesse kiss, well, is Damien lying? Did Jeffree saw that happen? Does Jeffree consider a 10-year-old kissing a 24-year-old just inappropriate behavior? Is that something that he's lumping in inappropriate behavior? That question that a victim had for Jeffree Star was never asked by Chris Hansen. Chris Hansen, who is interviewing these victims, a question that a victim had for Jeffree Star, that was not asked to Jeffree Star. That was not asked to Jeffree Star. And Chris Hansen knew that Jesse had said that. Do you know how I know that? Because Creepshow Shannon went out of her way to send these questions to Chris Hansen. This is what Creepshow had to say about this.
Let me tell you, the shade that was thrown on me specifically for having the audacity to ask questions of Jeffree, for having the very audacity to ask Chris Hansen to fucking ask Jeffree some specific questions based on the situation. My number one question that I wanted answers was, since Jeffree is now saying that he never saw anything, since Jeffree is now saying that he never witnessed a diddly darned thing, is he going to sit up here and tell me that Damien, aka Jesse Slaughter, was lying? Because Damien... And guess what? I know that Chris Hansen saw what I asked. You want to know how I know? One of his moderators messaged me and she said, hey, Shannon, I can get this message to Chris. I will get this message to Chris. What are your questions that you have for him? And I was like, here are the questions that I have. Sent them along. And then I publicly tweeted them in friggin' case, he was going to play the I didn't see them card. It's like, really? You didn't see them? You're tagged in them. So it wasn't just the moderator who I sent the questions to. It wasn't just... Thank you guys for...
So she went out of her way to send these good questions to Chris Hansen. But did Chris Hansen ask them? Oh no, of course he didn't. And it's not that Chris Hansen wouldn't talk to creators. Do you know how I know that? Because Chris Hansen actually talked to Pastel Bell about Jeffree Star. Now, a few things you should know about Pastel Bell. First, she is an amazing person. You should definitely go subscribe to her channel. I don't want to see one negative comment about Pastel Bell. She is doing incredible work here. Because of her, now we have 3 investigations into Davi Vanity at the moment. I don't want to see one negative comment about Pastel Bell. She isn't really covering Jeffree Star and Davi Vanity situation. What she is doing is she's interviewing victims. So it's interesting to me that Chris Hansen talked to Pastel Bell about Jeffree Star, a channel with 15k subs who isn't talking about Jeffree Star and Davi Vanity, but wouldn't talk to Creepshow Art, who just surpassed 250k subs on YouTube and is covering Jeffree Star and Davi Vanity. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that very interesting? Another thing that I noticed in Chris Hansen's interview of Jeffree Star is this. Every time that Jeffree's tweets were brought up, it was brought up by Jeffree, not by Chris Hansen. It was Jeffree who was saying, well, people really want to know about this, so let's talk about this. It was him bringing his tweets up, but not Chris. Interesting how that works. Take a look at it yourself.
Chaotic. So yes, there was a time when we were friends. And I would love to talk about, because so many people, they want us to talk about my tweets, Chris. And I think that it's very important to address it. Why did I tweet certain things about him being a piece of shit and seeing things? And why did I work with him again? I really think that we should talk about it. No one has any contracts against me. No one has any secrets against me. Davi knows nothing about me. And yeah, it hurts that people even think that, but I get it. I tweeted out a lot of stuff and then I worked with him again. So Chris, I think I would love to explain why I worked with him again, because people don't understand that.
Let's go there. You send out these.
At one point in time, Chris Hansen was saying, oh, you said that Davi was this horrible person, and it was Jeffree who said, oh, I called him a child molester. And then Chris Hansen said, oh yeah, you called him a child molester.
You called him, though, at that time, some very nasty.
Oh, I called him a child molester.
A child molester. I mean, you came right out and said.
It was as if Chris Hansen didn't even want it to bring up his tweets and what he actually said in those tweets. And these are just 4 tweets we're talking about. And every time any of these tweets were brought up, it was brought up by Jeffree. It wasn't brought up by Chris asking Jeffree about these tweets. It just shows to me that Jeffree was the one who was in control of this interview. And Jeffree, being Jeffree, didn't actually brought up that he said in those tweets that he saw Davi bring underage girls to his hotel room, 100% illegal.
Well, a lot of people know I'm very dramatic and I say things all the time in a very grandiose manner. So everyone wants me to address every single tweet. Let's go. Me calling Davi my brother, that's just me being dramatic. Davi was never my brother. We were never best friends. You can think that 100% not.
Here he says that, hey, let's go through the tweets. And for some reason, he didn't talk about the fact that he tweeted that he saw Davi Vanity bring underage girls to his hotel room. That tweet was never discussed by Jeffree. Jeffree never brought it up. Chris Hansen never brought it up. Interesting how that works. Another thing that was very interesting to me is this. Forget everything. Forget like Jesse Slaughter. Forget any of the victims that have came forward and their stories. Forget everything. Jeffree Star's own internal narrative doesn't make much sense. At one point in time, Jeffree says that the reason why he worked with Davi again was because of this.
At the time was friends with Jay and Brandy, his bandmates. So me and Davi hadn't spoken in a while, and he had reached out to me again, and he's like begging me to not believe what everyone had said. So I did my own research, and I reached out to Jay. Of course, Jay. never seen anything, Jeffree. Davi's great. Okay, but that wasn't good enough for me. So I reached out to Brandy. Now, Brandy Wynn was a band member of Blood on the Dance Floor for years and years. She's a mother of 4. I said, Brandy, have you ever seen anything illegal for real? Because our agents are trying to put this tour together with them on it, and I'm not gonna do it. And I would never put him in any light ever again if you have seen something.
So essentially, because he's asked the band members whether they saw something illegal or not. However, before in the live stream, he says this.
But there would be moms who would bring their kids, whether they were underage or not, on his bus. And let's say I popped in to say hi to Jay, because me and Davi were never best friends. I want to be very clear about that. Me and Jay were very close. And their violin player, Brandy, who was on tour with them for years and years. Jay and Brandy were my friends. So when I would go on the bus for a short amount of time and visit, whether we said hi, we smoked weed, we just talked and catched up. And I would love to tell people that something that was kind of disturbing to me is that he would bring mom and daughters on the bus. And sometimes it would be threesomes. Sometimes he would have sex with the mothers. And this is what his band members would tell me when I would leave the bus.
So he asked band members whether they saw something illegal happen or not. But before, band members told him that Davi was having threesomes with fans and their mothers. So which is it, Jeffree? Which is it? Not to mention that incest is fucking illegal. Was this something that was ever brought up in the interview? You know, no, it wasn't brought up. Of course it wasn't fucking brought up. Another thing that doesn't make any sense, even in Jeffree Star's own internal narrative, is that Jeffree worked with Davi again and thought that Davi was innocent because Davi was never charged. Well, the thing is that Davi is still not charged. So what changed Jeffree's mind? Why does he think now that Davi sure is a predator, but not before? What changed? Was that a question that was ever asked? Nope, it wasn't, because of course it fucking wasn't. So these were just some of the things that I think should have been brought up by Chris Hansen that he just didn't brought up. So if these were the questions that Chris Hansen didn't brought up with Jeffree, what were the questions that he did brought up with Jeffree? Can you guess? Can you guess what questions Chris Hansen asked Jeffree?
And what do you think, Jeffree, has been the key to your success in the arena you're in now?
What is the secret to your success, Jeffree? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my God. A question by one of the victims of Davi Vanity was not asked by Chris Hansen, but he found time to ask Jeffree, what is the secret to your success, Jeffree? Are you kidding me? Are you fucking... This isn't just disappointing. I know people are saying in the comment section of Chris Hansen's video that, hey, this interview was very disappointing. This is not fucking disappointing. This is disgusting that Chris Hansen would do this. He asked Jeffree, what is your secret to success, Jeffree? And didn't ask Jeffree about a question that one of the victims had. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Oh my God, this is absolutely disgusting. This is disgusting that Chris Hansen would do this. And he didn't stop there, by the way. He kept on asking about Jeffree's philanthropy work. Do we really need to... Is it something that really needs to be brought up? You know? I say no. I don't think so. But Chris Hansen thinks yeah. Yeah. Chris Hansen was just fucking simping for Jeffree Star right there. If you don't see that, if you think that, oh, Chris Hansen just brought it up because, oh, I don't know what fucking mental gymnastics someone has to go through to believe that Chris Hansen was not simping for Jeffree right there when he asked Jeffree about his secret to success, but didn't ask a question by one of the victims. I don't know how to convince you that Chris Hansen was in some degree compromised during this interview. I don't know how to. I don't know. I don't know how to convince you. So now let's talk about some of the specifics. So he did give a reason for why he tweeted out that Davi is a child molester, and this is his reasoning.
What was it that you actually said and meant in those tweets?
Yeah, so back in the day, there was a lot of crazy rumors about Davi. There was never any criminal charges against him. He was never put in jail for, I know there was one instance, but he never served real jail time. There was no criminal case against him. So there was a moment when a lot of us in the music world were not sure what was really going on. So it was being in that moment of not knowing, really believing it all because it was very believable. But then at the end of the day, there was no proof.
So he tweeted out that we saw Davi bring underage girls to his hotel room based on rumors. That makes no sense. What? That makes no sense. Like, you say that you saw it happen, not that there are rumors about it. You didn't say, I think that Davi is a predator based on some of the things I've heard. No, you said you saw Davi bring underage girls to his hotel room. So he lied there, essentially. That itself is going to hurt the investigation. Like in the court of law, the credibility of victims here is now shattered. Because look, this big public figure lied about Davi vanity. These other people, what about these other people? They could have also lied about him, right? And here's the thing. The victims in the situation, their voices are the most important thing here. Like, because a lot of this happened a long time ago, and at that point in time, people didn't like screenshotted things, you know? That wasn't the first thing that would come to mind. A lot of the evidence is not there, and all that the victims have is their stories. And because Jeffree is lying here, he first outed Davi for being a child molester, and then worked with him again. That discredits the victims' voices, and it's not just about, oh, it happened a long time ago. Even now, if you go watch my video on Davi Vanity is grooming underage fans, is still grooming underage fans. These are the text messages that Davi sent this underage girl who he was grooming. These are not problematic. These don't prove that Davi was actually preying on these girls. He would only get sexual during the calls, and the victims are not going to screen record it unless they suspect something. And when they do come around and suspect that something wrong is going on here, it's too late. It's too late. And all they have is their stories. So the credibility of victims is really important here. And Jeffree first outing Davi as a child molester and then going back and working with him again is him lying there. Anyone can see that this could be used in court of law to defend Davi. Hey, look, this public figure took back what they said about Davi. What about these other girls? They could also be lying now, couldn't they? So Jeffree Star's tweets there that he outed Davi as a child molester and then worked with him again is destructive to the investigation itself. Not to mention the effect that it had on Damien. Like, watch this. This is a clip that somebody on Twitter, a lovely person, sent me. Take a look.
Came out August 20th and the song came out on like July 25th or whatever. And like at first it almost gave me this feeling of like hope and power, like, well shit, Jeffree remembers me. Fuck, he's talking about me right there. He says, you know, fucking kids and enjoying the attention. That's clearly about the song. And like it made me feel so empowered. But then afterwards, I was in foster care when he had taken back the statements and started touring with them again. and I didn't have access to the internet, but I had a bunch of friends who were in the Blood on the Dance Floor fandom, and they suddenly were like, oh yeah, you said that Jeffree Star was supporting you? Well, he's back on tour with Davi, so I don't know about that. And it contributed to me retracting my statement in June of 2011 to a school friend of mine, which then later got posted in August to YouTube. And it just, like he directly.
So you're saying that him going back on tour and supporting of Davi Vandy was what initially made you release your apology, because at that point
it's not like the only factor, but it was one of the things that people would say to me was like, well, Jeffree Star took it back, so you must obviously be a liar.
Can you imagine? Can you fucking imagine what Damien had gone through? She was there publicly saying that Davi Vanity sexually assaulted me. And because of that, Davi sent his fans over to attack her. But there was Jeffree Star, who did saw Davi and Jesse Slaughter kiss. And he was there supporting the victims. And he took that away. And he took that fucking away. And because of that, she was essentially she was forced into saying that, no, that didn't happen. When it did. When it fucking did. Can you imagine the amount of pressure that she was under? Holy shit. Holy fucking shit. All we want from Jeffree Star is to be honest and to say what he saw. What the fuck did he saw? What did he meant by inappropriate things? What did he meant by, he saw dark things in the music industry? What did he meant by that? All we need is honesty. And Jeffree Star is just lying there. And there are many, 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 many examples of him lying in the Chris Hansen interview. I mean, I could go through some if you want me to. I'm pretty sure I have written some down here. This is him speaking on the misinformation that was apparently spreading around.
So here's the thing. I think that there's a lot of misinformation out there. Blood on the Dance Floor and Jeffree Star, the musician, did a lot of tours separately. We only ever toured twice together.
Well, one of those times at least was after you outed Davi for being a child molester. What misinformation are you talking about here?
And people may know this or may not know this about me. I don't drink. I know there's conspiracies that I secretly drink. I am not a partier. So they were very into partying, drinking, alcohol, and my crew was not into that.
Nobody cares whether you drink or not, Jeffrey. Nobody cares. This was never. No, it wasn't a thing. It doesn't matter whether you drink or not. Nobody brought it up.
Yes, we would always grab people up and do that. But for some reason, I'm responsible for his actions. Absolutely not.
No, Jeffrey, you dumb fuck. We're not holding you accountable for Davi's action. We're holding you accountable to your actions.
Me and Jay were very close.
Me and Jeffrey were not really that close. We just toured together and we would hang out at the events and stuff.
Well, Jay says that he wasn't close with you, so...
No offense or shade to what we call them drama channels, Chris, in the YouTube world, or people that report news. A lot of people do not have great intentions. A lot of people are making money off of this story, and I think that's wrong.
Chris Hansen was making money at the same time, so what the fuck are you talking about? That money isn't going towards victims. That money is going towards Chris Hansen. And honestly, there are so many lies. I can't go through them all. Like him talking about that, hey, he never knew Jesse Slaughter, when there are tweets of him talking about them in derogatory ways. He knew who Jesse Slaughter was. Okay, so I don't think that I could go through all the lies that are in Jeffree Star's live stream. I'm pretty sure there'll be someone out there who's gonna make a better video than me about all the lies that was in Chris Hansen's live stream. And perhaps, doing that ding sound effect every time that Jeffree lies, like Cinema Sins, oh, you lied there, like ding, just having a counter of Jeffree lying, and also having a counter for Chris simping for Jeffree every time that he defends Jeffree in some ways, or talks about, his secret to success, or his philanthropy work, just have a simp counter and a Jeffree lying counter. Okay, so I'm gonna stop right here. I'm gonna go over Keemstar's interview. I've heard that it's kind of good, kind of bad. I don't know. And I'm gonna give you guys my opinion on it. So yeah, that's all that I have for this video. Like this video if you liked it. Comment your thoughts down below about what you think about this interview. Subscribe for more videos. And yeah, do not touch your face.